Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Ramsey. Hold on. I need to. All right. Yeah, I can't fix the audio now. I'm coming in through the regular speakers, right? Not through this. It's just going to sound like crap. Darn it. Oh, man, I should have fixed that. Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Maybe there's a way I can edit that. Hold on. Let me see. Can you guys still hear me? Just want to make absolutely sure. How about. Can you guys. Hello, sir. Hey, Miyaki. Can you guys hear me through this? Just want to make sure. All right. Okay, cool. I'm just going to go ahead and jump on in. Drop your questions in the chat. And I'll do my best to answer them. It's really, really exciting to be here. I'm glad to see you guys again and get started. Hey there, Diane Brereton. That's a cool name. Very franche sounding. What was that one song? I listen to you time and time again while you say just what's right. Da, 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 and sleep somewhere else at night. I'm going back to Kansas City. Yes, it is. I bet it is Old English because there's a lot in common between the Old English and the French, right? A lot of chats back and forth. So what's that? Oh man, let me look up the lyrics for you. I think it's called Kansas City. And I love you, dear, but just how long can I keep singing the same old song? Right? No, that's not it. Let's see. Oh, it's an F. I listen to you time and time again while you tell me just what's right. You tell me 1,000 things a day and sleep somewhere else at night. I'm going back to Kansas City. Ooh, that's quite low for me. And I love you, dear. That's better. But just how long can I keep singing the same old song? And I love you, dear. But just how long can I keep singing the same old song? I'm going back to Kansas City. Oh, man, I love those chords. Do you guys know that song? Am I just crazy? And at the same time, I saw the chat drop from like 16 to 13. And I was like, oh, man, they don't like my singing. Well, guys, I'm really, really excited. Go ahead and drop your questions in the chat. I want to do my best to answer all of them in a timely manner. And just a quick note here, guys. We have just reopened enrollment for 30-Day Songmaster. Every single month, we're going to learn to sing a new song that trains a specific vocal skill. And it actually builds the voice in a specific order. So, we start off with kind of the more simple, like singing on rhythm and pitch. Then we work towards singing in chest voice, singing in head voice, singing in mixed voice, the blend between the chest and the head, then going into vocal effects such as vibrato, sustains, crescendo, harmonies. And then, of course, this month we are actually working on vocal style. So it's a fantastic time to join. We only open it for a very limited amount of time each month. And this is that time right now because we're going to be publishing the new singing tutorial for everyone to learn on the first of the month. Canny says, I want to hit high notes just like Ariana Grande. Don't we all, Canny? Canny Lanny. Not sure if you're a guy or a girl, Canny. It sounds like a guy's name to me. So that may not be in the cards for you. But what every singer needs to learn how to do is how to access the top part of their singing voice, the head voice. So like learning how to go from the very top down to the bottom part of the singing voice. And ideally, learning how to do that without breaking, the key to which is singing in mixed voice. And we'll talk about that a bunch too. In the song Symphony, when she sings symphony, is it like her natural voice in a higher range, or is it the whistle tone that Ariana Grande often uses? I don't know the song that you're talking about, Eternal. Maybe someone else can answer her. Diane says, I'm still struggling with voice issues from the respiratory infection. I remember you, Diane. I remember you talking about that. Started September 29th. I've been steaming as per your recommendation. I guess time will tell. Okay, so I think that I could be wrong, but I think that you said that you were going to do some pulmonary tests as a result. So I think you're doing everything right. I think you need to continue going down that road of diagnosing what's really going on, because if it's been almost an entire month now, no, almost 2 entire months now, then you definitely need to see additional help, because ideally these things will clear up if you're on antibiotics and all that stuff, and you're steaming your voice and all these other things, kind of a combination between what the doctor recommends and what good vocal hygiene dictates. Then that should resolve within a couple of weeks, but it hasn't for you. So I'm a little concerned about that. Erwin von Landwust. I remember Erwin. Hi, Matt. Hope you're great. The other day, I realized I will never be able to sing high notes effortlessly until I develop a soft head voice falsetto. I always blast high notes in that. Absolutely. So, excuse me. In singing terminology, we call that pulling up chest voice. So when you go, you get to kind of a point. That was, by the way, let's see, I'm in the key of F sharp, so it wouldn't be a B flat, it'd be an A sharp. That was an A sharp that I was just blasting with just chest voice, right? And unfortunately, there's always an upper limit to both of the vocal ranges, actually, the chest voice and the head voice. There's only so high that you can sing in the chest voice and only so low that you can sing in the head voice, right? So what you need to do, and what you're implying that's absolutely correct, is that you need to learn how to go up into that top part of your voice that, oftentimes it'll start as falsetto. So if I have someone that's really pulling chest and they're like, ma, 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 that's a G sharp, by the way, or an A flat, however you want to call it. I guess I'm in the key of A flat, so I'll call it an A flat. Excuse me. Sorry, the weather just changed here, so my nose is a little bit of a mess. There's always going to be a point, if you're really, really pushing up to those higher notes, where eventually it's probably going to be better for you to go ma, 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 to ma, 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 because at least now you're on the right pitch and you're not having to just blast a crazy amount of volume at those notes. Now, the next step after you've discovered that head voice, the next step after that is going to be learning to blend that head voice and that chest voice together, which of course is the essentials of mixed voice, which we've talked about. So what do you recommend me? Maybe something about mouth shape, resonance place, larynx position, tongue. I tried everything. Thanks in advance. I wouldn't think about it in terms of all these fancy buzzwords you've thrown at me. I would think of it in terms of exercises. You always need to come at a vocal tendency, which yours being pulled chest. That's your vocal tendency. You always need to think in terms of what is equal and opposite to that, right? So if you're pulling chest, that's one side of the equation. What's the other side of the equation is falsetto. So you may need to sing in falsetto a little while every time you go up to those higher notes in order to find a better presentation on those notes. And once you found that, then you can start to blend it together. So if you're going, ooh, you're really, really straining to get up there. Maybe you need to go, ooh, and actually purposely have your voice break between the chest voice and the falsetto and back down, ooh, until you can achieve that, ooh, where there's no breaks or no strains. Let's see. Miyaki, you didn't see my question. Where's your question, Miyaki? Well, first of all, it didn't have a question mark at the end of it, Miyaki, so that's your first problem. Hi, I'm not good at singing and I have kind of nasal voice. You mean nasal voice. Can I still be a singer? Plus, I am shy while singing. You need to learn how to write complete sentences, Miyaki. That will make it easier to communicate, because that's the essence of what we're trying to do, is communicate with each other, right? So can you still be a singer? Absolutely. Yeah, it just takes vocal training. And in terms of nasality, it's a lot of that is about learning how to sing more oral, more out the mouth. So rather than going through the nose, going out through the mouth. Now, one trick that I like to use, and I just published this in one of my videos, I called it the plug technique. Excuse me. You'll take your thumb and your first finger and you'll gently pinch your nose as you're singing. And if you go, as you plug your nose as you sing that, you'll feel the nasality in your nose. However, if you sing, when you learn to channel it out your mouth more, you won't feel any of that nasality as you pinch your nose. Great question. Okay, so Dupe Drew, are there alternatives to lip trails? Well, I've never taken the lip trail. It sounds very dangerous. I assume you're talking about lip trills. If I don't have time or I'm just lazy, one vocal workout I should at least do every day. Okay, so Dupe Drew, I got two different alternatives for you. The first alternative is the tongue trill. And I actually just talked about this in my video on the Kermit voice. So I heard some singers going, ah. So they're singing with that Kermit voice. And the exercise that I recommended that he did that worked really well is a tongue trill, where you basically just roll your R's on the pitch. Those are a really, really great exercise to do, because you're actually doing a lot of the same things that you would do in the lip trill, but at the same time, you're also releasing tongue tension because you're kind of wearing the tongue out. The tongue has a tendency to really want to grab. What impression am I doing? What vocal coach does that? Has anyone seen a vocal coach that Has anyone seen a vocal coach that does that before? I think he's out there. He's listening to me right now. And instead, doing that on a tongue trill seems kind of counterintuitive, because with that one, you're raising your tongue up as well. But because you're raising your tongue up, it's actually kind of tiring it out, just kind of making it tired, right? And so instead, you'll learn that you can you'll learn that you can go up to those higher notes. Excuse me. Because you've actually released some of that tongue tension. Now, the second exercise that you can do instead of the tongue trill would be a nasal, as in rung, like I rung the doorbell, like I'm ringing the doorbell, but I rung the doorbell. Now, just say that, rung, and then release the G at the very end. Now, put that on a scale. Both the tongue trill and the that I just demonstrated are both examples of what are called SOVT exercises. I'll type that in here. SOVT is equal to semi-occluded vocal tract, which means that I'm closing something in my vocal tract, something in my throat, and that's actually helping the vocal cords vibrate more easily. So the lip trill is another example of that. So those are all SOVT exercises. And guys, I just wanted to bring up a real quick reminder that we just reopened enrollment on 30-Day Songmaster. 30-Day Songmaster is our monthly program where every single month you actually send in a recording of yourself singing a song and get personalized feedback from me. I assign the song every month, and it's designed to teach you to sing step by step. And there's a very, very specific formula that you need to follow every single month. So, in the earlier months, we'll be working on chest voice or, singing on pitch. Then we'll start working up towards head voice. And then possibly, not possibly, we'll definitely work up towards mixing the voice, mixing the chest voice and the head voice together. Then working on, vocal effects such as vibrato, crescendos, harmonies, sustains, all those different types of things. And it's just one of those things that it builds on it every single month. Do all singers have a vocal coach? Absolutely not. There are many singers who do not. However, I would say, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with like kind of like the inverse of a bell curve. So there's a bell curve where it like starts really small and then goes up in the middle and then kind of comes down, right? And so I would say that most people who have a vocal coach are on the ends of that diagram, right? The very beginner people really, really need a vocal coach because they really, really need somebody to help them kind of get unstuck and help them figure out what that next step in their voice that they need to achieve is. And then the very, very, very top performing professionals all have a vocal coach as well. Because when you're going to be performing 300 days a year, you need to be in tip top vocal shape. And so having a vocal coach on staff or someone that you see virtually is really, really helpful. Now, obviously, most of the people that are subscribed to this channel are not those singers. Most of the people that are subscribed to this channel are very, very beginners. And so those are the people that really, really need a vocal coach to help them get unstuck, help them get to that next level. Ellie says, I want to sing low notes. I am a soprano. Okay, remember, guys, punctuation is important. I want to sing low notes. I am a soprano. So to sing lower notes, one of the things that I definitely recommend is singing more close vowels on some descending 5-tone scales. What does that mean? So a close vowel would be like an oo or an e, where my mouth is not very open. The opposite would be like an ah or an ah, right? So an oo or an e being a closer vowel, and then do a 5-tone descending scale. So for example, sing that on an So that's pretty low for my voice. I'll try that on an E instead. E. So yeah, that's a little low for my voice today. That's an A flat 2 right there. And those exercises are really good for helping you get lower in your voice because the resonance spot for them, what we call the first formant, is much, much lower on those vowels than they are for other vowels. Great question. Let's see. Jimmy Stone says, hey, I was wondering, how are you meant to sing lower in your mixed voice? Well, the mixed voice isn't necessarily a distinct vocal range. It's not necessarily like a specific range of notes that you sing in mixed voice. It's almost more of like a way of singing those notes. So I can sing this F sharp in just chest voice. Mom, 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 mom. I can sing it in falsetto. Mom, 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 mom. Or I can sing it in mix. Mom, 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 mom. And so it's not necessarily like a specific range of notes. Now, one thing to your point that there is kind of a range of notes that does help is the first passage. So once you approach that first passage, for guys being around E flat 4, E4, F4, F sharp 4, G4, that area. For ladies, probably around B flat 4, B4, C5. Those passaggio, those passage notes right there, that's where you want to start to find some of that mixed voice. As far as singing it lower, there's not really a point to singing it lower because once you're already sufficiently low, then you're already going to be in the chest voice. So once I get below that E flat 4 where I can start to mix, ma 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 ma, now I'm just in my chest. Ma 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 ma. I'm just in my chest voice now. M says it's so amazing to see Golden Coach go live. I love that. I'm gonna start nicknaming myself the Golden Coach. Thank you, M. Skater Die 420 sounds like the very first screen name I had. I love that. Skater Die 420. I wonder what 420 means. I watched your top 10 warm-ups. About how long should I warm up per day before singing? Probably about 20 to 30 minutes. You want to get to the you can grow that amount of time too. Because when you're first getting started with warm-ups and doing warm-ups regularly, 15 to 20 minutes can feel like a lot. You know, doing all the that's a lot. Like doing because every single one of those that I'm singing, that's 13 notes right there. And so if you do, let's say like 10 modulations of that, then 10 on the way back down, that's like what? Already, I'm not a math wizard, but I would say that's already like 130 notes. What's 130 times 2? Would be 200. That's 260 notes that you sang within, I don't know, a couple of minutes. So one of my vocal coaches actually put it a really interesting way. He was like, in this lesson right here, right now, you're going to sing more than you'll sing in an hour-long set on stage. And I thought that was kind of crazy because when you break down the math, you actually are singing way, way, way more when doing vocal exercises than you would with a song, because songs have, space in between them. They have pauses, they have breaks and stuff like that. Great question. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Eternal Luminary says, do some people have a higher chest voice than others? And can that be improved? Great question, actually. A lot of people don't talk about this, but yes, I do think that some people can sing higher in their chest voice than other people. I shouldn't say I think. I know that some people can. Same thing is true for ladies. I'm thinking about one of my students, Rhea Verghese. Rhea. I knew another Rhea, which is why I'm getting the pronunciation confused. Rhea, Rhea. And she posts covers on YouTube. She's an incredible singer. You guys should look her up. And she could use her chest voice up to like a B4, which is pretty darn high for a lady to be able to sing. And I would actually have to be like, okay, so that note right there, we want to start mixing that note instead, because she could actually sing it in just chest voice and it would sound good. But the problem is, remember, it's like the voice gets kind of fatigued if you're pushing it outside of its natural range for too much, right? So she could chest up to a B4, sometimes even a C5. But then if all of a sudden there was a D5 in the song in even higher notes, she would all of a sudden have to switch. And because her voice was already kind of tired, that switch would sound very, very ungraceful, right? So very good question. Madhu Malika Patak says, I have a question. When I sing high notes, I stretch from my throat. Why is the reason? So here's the thing, Patak. A lot of singers, they follow the note with their larynx. So when they go up high, ma 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 ma, ning 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 ning, na 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 na, the larynx is raising for that note. And instead, what you want to do is you want to have a neutral or a resting larynx, ma 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 ma, where it's not too high. It's just, it kind of looks like I'm just saying mum mum mum, mum 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 mum. So it's relaxed. So you really, really want to focus on that. Let's see here. Canny Lanny says, I need some breathing exercises to control my lungs to sing. Wow, Canny, you need a lot of things. You need to sing like Ariana Grande. You need breathing exercises. How else can I help you? Well, I think the best thing that you could do is check out 30 Day Songmaster. It's super affordable. It's only $27 a month. And every single month, you learn to sing a brand new song that trains a specific vocal skill. So we'll obviously start off at the base of the pyramid. The perfect performance pyramid is what I call it, where we'll work on like breathing and posture. Then we'll move on to, let's say, singing on pitch, singing on rhythm, then chest voice and head voice, then mixed voice. And it all builds on top of each other until you get to a much, much better place. But to answer your question directly, the biggest breathing exercise that I recommend is the diaphragmatic breath. So when you inhale, the stomach and only the stomach. I'm gonna put this down here. You guys can see my dog cleaning herself. Other side, there it is. And so when I inhale, my stomach expands, but my chest and my shoulders do not raise. So I'm inhaling, no movement up here, right? And as I exhale or as I sing, the stomach comes back in or contracts. So that's the diaphragmatic breath. And one of the fun things that you can do with that is you can time your breathing. That's the Farinelli breathing exercise, where you inhale for a count, hold for a count, exhale for a count. So let's say that you inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, then hold the breath for 1, 2, 3, 4, then exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Really, really helpful. Let's see. M says, I'm practicing vibrato with a bunch of ways, but currently I'm lost track. Can you tell me what vibrato should be like? And also, what is best to get vibrato? So kind of similar to the exercises that I just recommended. Excuse me, hold on. Kind of like the exercise that I just recommended, one of my favorite vibrato exercises is the diaphragm pulse. So I take a fist with my hand, I cover it with my other hand, and I place it on my solar plexus, and I sing a vowel such as E. E. Should kind of sound like you're giving yourself the Heimlich maneuver. And the reason that that works is it's basically kind of forcing the variations in the breath control that create the vibrato, right? And so I would start off by doing the diaphragm pulse and then see if you can start to take the hands away and still keep the vibrato going. Right? And see if you can still keep it going. That's a great question. Let's see. Firebolt JB says, "Hi, Matt. I got a question about the wah, cry, reg vocal exercises. I don't know if I'm accessing cry or not. How can I tell?" First of all, I'm not really sure what the cry, reg vocal exercise is. So maybe you can clarify that so I can answer that better. Now, there is kind of a vocal effect or kind of an affectation that I teach my students sometimes if they need to work on vocal compression. So if they need to work on vocal compression, they're singing too breathy. Ma, 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 ma. Sometimes I'll have them pretend like they're kind of sad and kind of sobby. Ma, 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 ma. Ma, 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 ma. Mum, 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 mum. And you'll notice that adding a little bit of that kind of sad or kind of sobby affectation seals up my vocal cords much better, so I'm able to get that mixed voice I need. Hold on one second. I just realized I forgot my water in the other room. Michael Swank is here. Hey, buddy. Good to hear you. Good to see you. Okay, so hold on one second. I'll let you guys look at my dog while I go and grab my water. Hold on. And yes, I'm wearing flip-flops. And it's winter. Come on. We gotta teach the people. Gotta teach the people to sing. She's like, what the heck? She's like, what the heck? All right. Thank you for your patience. Okay, cool. Let me pick up where I left off. Let's see. Eternal Luminary said, is that on a certain app? I'm not sure what you're asking, Eternal Luminary. Let's see. Do some people have a chest voice and can that be improved? That was your last question, so I'm not sure what you're asking exactly. If you're asking about the 30-day Songmaster course, no, it's not on a certain app. It's just on desktop. It's on the internet. As long as you've got internet and a smartphone, you can do it. Tochuwu Henry says, by how much can I actually improve my vocal range? So good question. So the vocal range is one of those things that once you have worked with a vocal coach for a while and you've done some range expansion exercises, you'll probably reach the extent of your vocal range within a couple of years. Now, typically, you can always squeeze out an extra note or two. For example, my highest note is probably around a G5, F sharp 5. I'll start around the F sharp 5. Doesn't sound great, but it is in my vocal range, right? That's the G5. Now, I may or may not be able to do this A flat. I'll try it. So that A5 right there, that's a little bit flat, right? Now, if I was really warmed up and I was working with my vocal coach, I might be able to do that A5. I might even be able to do the B flat 5, right? But that's only because I've been doing this stuff for years and years and years, right? So I've already kind of experienced kind of the limits of my vocal range. But for someone that's just starting out, God, you can expand your range by an octave easily by working with the right person. Jimmy Stone says, continuing off my last question, how can you make your transition from chest to mixed voice to head voice more seamless? Good question. Well, Jimmy, it all really depends on what's going on whenever you try those transitions. Are you going too light? Are you straining? Are you pulling up your chest voice when you're going up to them? Whatever the answer to that question is dictates what you need to do to make it more seamless. Here's an example. So if someone is going too light, excuse me, they're going, let's say, mum, 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 or a mum, 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 mum. Then for them, adding a little bit more attitude, like a na 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 na. Na 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 na. Sorry, that A4 is a little flat there. I need to start from the top. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Now notice when I started from the top, my pitch improved, right? It's a very ugly exercise, don't get me wrong. But notice that when I started from the top, my pitch improved. And that was because I'm no longer trying to pull up into those higher notes. So for me, it's all about ironing out those kind of couple of notes where I'm really, really kind of getting stuck. Michael Swank, I want to answer your question. Let's see. I'm preparing for a couple of more demanding shows in January. How should I go about practicing this set, building the stamina? Is it a good idea to practice the sets in chunks to build up to the set? That's a really good question, Michael. So what I would recommend is, so from what I remember of your music, and by the way, you guys should definitely check out Michael Swank's band, Foxterra. I think it's still called Foxterra. Maybe Michael can correct me if I'm wrong, or if they've changed names. But Michael's music is actually pretty difficult to sing. All of the songs are pretty demanding. But what I would recommend doing is I would recommend taking the chunks of the hardest songs and working on those almost exclusively in your vocal practice. So you'll do your regular vocal warm-ups, 20 to 30 minutes of really, really pounding through those. All the things that we've done in lessons before, Michael. I think we've done actual lessons before. It's been a few years, but we've done it. You'll do those vocal warm-ups, and then with another 15 to 20 minutes, you'll really, really hone in and practice just the trouble spots in the hardest songs. And the reason for that is because 95% of the songs, maybe in your case 85%, because they tend to be pretty challenging, in most cases 90% of the songs aren't really challenging for you. It's really just that 10% that you really, really need to focus in and hone in on. And that's the way that I run my lessons too, is like I don't usually have my students sing like an entire song all the way through and work on the entire song and have them sing it 5 times. What a tremendous waste of time that would be, right? Instead, we just really focus on the parts that are hardest for you. Now, just a quick reminder, guys, we have just reopened enrollment for 30-day Songmaster. Every single month, you learn to sing a new song that trains a specific vocal skill, such as singing in chest voice, singing with vibrato, learning how to belt, crescendos, sustains. And every single month, you're going to send in a recording of yourself singing and get personalized feedback from me. So I really appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you for all of your questions. Sorry I didn't have more time to answer everyone's, but I will be doing this again the first or the last week, the last Saturday in November, if you guys are still around and if you guys would think it helpful. If so, just let me know. All right. Have a great rest of your day. See you guys later. Bye.